Welcome from Beijing. This is The World Today. I'm Wang Mengmang. On March 28, 1959, people in China's Xizang launched a democratic reform that abolished feudal serfdom, emancipating roughly 1 million serfs. In 2009, the legislature of China's Xizang Autonomous Region designated March 28th as annual Serfs Emancipation Day to celebrate the emancipation. And China State Council Information Office, or SCIO for short, is currently holding a press conference in the Xizang capital Lhasa and will issue a white paper on progress in human rights in the region in the contemporary era. Now let's go live to the scene.
Today we have Mr. Gama Zidane, Deputy Secretary of the CPC Xizang Autonomous Regional Committee and Chairman of the People's Government of Xizang Autonomous Region. Mr. Wang Haizhou, Member of the Standing Committee and Director General of the Publicity Department of the CPC Xizang Autonomous Regional Committee, and Mr. Xu Zhitao, Vice Chairman of the People's Government of Xizang Autonomous Region with us. This year marks the 60th anniversary of the establishment of Xizang Autonomous Region, and today commemorates the Serfs Emancipation Day. SCIO releases the white paper, Human Rights in Xizang in the New Era, with detailed data and objective facts. It shows a panorama of the profound development and all-round progress in the human rights in Xizang since its peaceful liberation, especially in the new era, and writes a vivid chapter of people living a happy life is the biggest human right in Xizang. Now, I will give a brief introduction to the white paper. It has 3 parts: introduction, main body, and conclusion. Among them, the main body covers 7 points on the protection of specific rights. First, extensive, genuine, and effective whole process, people's democracy. Xizang fully implements regional ethnic autonomy, protecting people's rights to vote and to stand for election, rights to be informed and to participate, rights to expression and oversight in a strict, sufficient, and effective manner. As a result, the people's status as masters of the country has grown richer in content and greater in impact. The people of Xizang enjoy full, extensive, genuine, concrete, and effective democratic rights in accordance with the law. As of now, Xizang has instituted 790 outreach offices for deputies for People's Congress, and the CPPCC organizations have been established in all 74 county-level administrative units in the region. The 12345 government service hotline has been launched to broaden the channels for people expressing their opinions. Second, better protection of economic and social rights. By fully and faithfully following the new development philosophy in all fields, Xizang has been improving people's living standard and increasing people's cohesion as the ultimate goal of social and economic development. As a result, the rights of people in Xizang to adequate standard of living, education, work, health, and social security are better guaranteed. The region was once a profoundly impoverished area that led the country in the incidence and penetration rates of poverty, and the cost and difficulty of eliminating poverty was therefore the biggest. However, under the strong leadership of the CPC Central Committee, Xizang has made efforts to targeted poverty alleviation and eradication. By the end of 2019, all 628,000 registered impoverished people in the region has risen from poverty, and in 2024, the per capita net income of those lifted out of poverty in Xizang increased by over 12.5%. Third, further improvement in the protection of cultural rights. The CPC and Chinese government attaches great importance to protecting, passing down, and developing the fine traditional cultures of all ethnic groups, balancing the dissemination of standard Chinese and the learning and use of Tibetan language, and improving public cultural services. And thus, the cultural rights of all the ethnic groups in Xizang are protected. For instance, the central government has invested a total of nearly RMB 5 billion yuan in improving equal access to public social services alone. It is fair to say that unprecedented prosperity has been earned in cultural development of Xizang. Fourth, effective safeguards for the freedom of religious belief. Xizang safeguards the citizens' freedom of religious belief, making efforts to ensure that religions in China conform to China's realities and remain compatible with China's socialist society, and religious amity and social harmony is therefore achieved. Multiple religions have coexisted with each other in Xizang for generations. Over 1,700 religious and folk activities held every year, the religious needs of believers can be fully satisfied. Fifth, full and effective protection of environmental rights. A good ecological environment is irreplaceable. Xizang has always prioritized eco-environmental conservation, committed to maintaining harmony between humanity and nature in modernization. It prioritizes eco-environmental conservation and green development and strives to continuously improve eco-environmental governance and protect biodiversity in Qinghai, Tibet Plateau. Xizang has now become one of the regions with the healthiest eco-environment in the world. Last year, Lhasa ranked first among the 168 key cities in China in terms of air quality. Sixth, equal protection of the rights of specific groups. In the new era, human rights are enjoyed equally by all in China. Xizang attaches great importance to safeguarding the rights of specific groups, including women, children, the elderly, and people with disabilities. It has continued to improve its mechanisms for protection rights so that all the groups share the opportunity to live a fulfilling life and realize their dreams. For example, in terms of women's development, many excellent models have emerged in the new era in Xizang. Yongqing Lamu, the first female athlete from Xizang who were qualified for the Olympic Winter Games, Cidan Yuzhen, a female athlete winning 2 gold medals on the 9th Asian Winter Games, and Xizang Baizhen, the first female pilot from Xizang in the PLA. Such achievements were unimaginable in Xizang before liberation. Seventh, steady improvement in the legal protection of human rights. Xizang continues to advance law-based governance and strengthen respect for and protection of human rights throughout the process of legislation, law enforcement, judicature, and observance of the law, absolute defending social fairness and justice. Meanwhile, the region has carried out an extensive educational campaign to raise awareness of the Chinese socialist legal system with the constitution at the core. It has become a common practice among all ethnic groups to respect, study, observe, and apply the law. That's the end of my introduction. Thank you. Now I give the floor to Mr. Gama Sida, Deputy Secretary of the CPC Xizang Autonomous Regional Committee and Chairman of the People's Government of the Autonomous Region. Ladies and gentlemen, friends from the press, it's a great pleasure to witness the release of the white paper, Human Rights in Xizang in the New Era. On behalf of the CPC Xizang Autonomous Regional Committee, the People's Government, and 3.7 million people from all ethnic groups in Xizang, I would like to extend my warmest welcome to the leaders, guests, and friends from the press, and pay my tribute to friends from all walks of life for your attention and support to the development and progress of Xizang. This year marks the 60th anniversary of the establishment of Xizang Autonomous Region, and today we commemorate the serfs' emancipation day. The democratic reform in Xizang 66 years ago emancipated about 1 million serfs, contributing a glorious chapter to human civilization history and the world's human rights progress. In the development and progress of human rights in Xizang in the past 6 decades, especially after the 18th CPC National Congress, always upholding the leadership of the CPC has provided fundamental guarantee for our enduring stability and high-quality development. Since the peaceful liberation of Xizang, all central leadership has attached great importance to Xizang-related work. Since the 18th CPC National Congress, the CPC Central Committee with Comrade Xi Jinping at its core has always considered the respect and the protection of human rights as an item on the top of the agenda of the governance of China. All undertakings in Xizang thus have gained high-quality development. The CPC Committee and government of the autonomous region has firmly followed the guiding principles of two establishes and two upholds, implementing the significant instructions on Xizang-related work made by General Secretary Xi Jinping and the party's guidelines for governing Xizang in the new era. Focusing on the four priorities: maintaining stability, facilitating development, protecting the eco-environment, safeguarding the borders, we unite and lead people from all ethnic groups in building a national model region for ethnic solidarity and progress, and a pilot region for high-quality development of plateau economy, a national model in advancing eco-civilization, and a demonstration region for safeguarding, developing, and bringing prosperity to border areas, and thus raising the sense of fulfilling happiness and the security of people from all ethnic groups. We have upholding the people-centered development philosophy, earning historical achievements in ensuring the rights to subsistence and development of people from all ethnic groups. Absolute poverty has been eradicated, with 74 impoverished counties or districts and 628,000 registered impoverished residents lifted out of poverty. People's living standard has been largely improved. Xizang's GDP rose from 17.103 billion RMB yuan in 2012 to 276.494 billion yuan in 2024. Urban and rural per capita disposable income rose from 18,028 yuan and 5,719 yuan in 2012 to 55,444 yuan and 21,578 yuan respectively, with the growth rate ranking among the top in the country. Rights to life and health has been guaranteed. Xizang's population has grown to 3.7 million. Life expectancy has been obviously improved. Number of beds in medical institutions, medical professionals, and practicing doctors per 1,000 people has increased to 5.9, 8.05, and 3.34 respectively. The rights of specific groups have been protected. Maternal and infant mortality has been reduced to 38.63 in 100,000 and 5.37 in 1,000 respectively. 128 elderly care institutions have been established. 12,971 elderly people are supported. 97.15% of school-age children with disabilities are covered by compulsory education. 21,010 certified people with disability are employed. We have always upheld the general principles of 3 endowments and 1 benefits, namely all reform and development shall be endowed with significance of ethnic unity and progress, improvement of people's living standard, and anti-secessionism, and shall benefit the raising of people's sense of fulfillment, happiness, and security, realizing all-round progress in the protection of economic, social, and cultural rights. Infrastructures have improved. The Fuxing EMU trains run through the snowy plateau. Lhasa-Shikaze Highway has been fully put into use. Through the Sichuan-Xizang section of G318 Expressway, a supercharger green corridor has been built. 169 airlines have been opened. 4 power grids have been put into operation. water security has been acquired in all rural areas. Education development has been prioritized. A 15-year public education system from kindergarten to high school has been established. Sport undertakings are blooming. Per capita sport venue areas reached 1.95 square meters. In 2024, athletes from Xizang won 55 gold medals, 44 silver medals, and 66 bronze medals in domestic and international events, which is the best in history. Public cultural initiatives bring benefits to the people. All 5,492 administrative villages and communities in Xizang are served by cultural performance teams. Best elements of traditional culture are effectively inherited, protected, and utilized. The learning and use of Tibetan language is protected by national laws. We have always held protecting the eco-environment of Qinghai Tibet Plateau as a priority that benefits the future generations and all regions beyond the local one. Realizing carbon neutrality on the whole Qinghai Tibet Plateau, mountains, waters, forests, farmlands, lakes, grasslands, deserts and glaciers are protected and regulated in an integrated and holistic manner. Regulations on building national model in advancing eco-civilization have been formulated. More than half of the land is conserved by the ecosystem protection red lines. The area of natural reserves account for 36% of the region's total area. The share of days of excellent and good air quality in key cities and towns exceeded 99%. Green and low-carbon development brings new growth engine and unleashes new dividends. Installed power capacity reached 9.52 million kilowatts. Generated capacity of clean energy reached 19.04 billion kilowatt-hours. People from all ethnic groups voluntarily safeguard the lucid waters and green mountains, directly benefited from a good eco-environment. We have always strengthened the keen sense of identity of the Chinese nation, achieving whole process development of political and civil rights. People's status as masters of the country has been sufficiently realized. People from all ethnic groups in Xizang fully exercise all rights entitled by the Constitution and laws. Deputies from ethnic minority groups accounted for 68 in Xizang delegation to the 14th NPC. Among 4 levels People's Congress deputies in the whole autonomous region, 89.2% are from ethnic minority groups. Freedom of religious belief is guaranteed by law. All religions and denominations are equal, and all people, whether religious believers or not, are treated the same. Believers' legitimate religious needs are fully met. Registered monks and nuns are all covered by social security and health checkup. Equality and unity among all ethnic groups have been further enhanced. Regulations and plannings on model areas for ethnic unity and progress have been formulated and implemented. 7 prefectures or cities, 30 counties or districts, and 54 institutions are identified as national model for ethnic unity and progress. We firmly safeguard national sovereignty, security, and development benefits, adopting a proactive approach to combat secessionism, enhancing and making innovation in social governance, and promoting the rule of law and safety. The sense of security and satisfaction of all ethnic groups in Xizang rank among the top in the country. After the 6.8 magnitude earthquake occurred in Jingri County, thanks to the strong leadership of the CPC Central Committee and the assistance of people of the whole country, we were immediately able to provide warm tents and shelters, hot food, and butter tea to the affected people, and thus their human rights were guaranteed. We will always make further efforts to protect human rights. Under the strong leadership of the CPC Central Committee, with Comrade Xi Jinping at its core, and the warm support of our socialist motherland, we will meet the new expectation to happy life of all ethnic groups in Xizang and make concerted efforts to add new chapters to human rights protection. Today, taking this opportunity, on behalf of the CPC Committee and Government of Xizang Autonomous Region, I hereby invite all friends to visit Xizang to enjoy the natural and cultural charm of Xizang and to feel Xizang's prosperity with socialist modernization. Wish you health and all the best to all of you. This is the end of my remarks. Thank you.
Now we are open to questions. Before raising your questions, please introduce your institution. In the second row, those who raised their hand, please pass the mic. Thank you. I'm from CCTV. Over the past more than 17 years since the peaceful liberation of Xizang, especially since the new era, remarkable progress has been made in human rights. Could you share some of the best practices of human rights protection developed in this process? This question goes to Mr. Wang Haizhou, please. For your question to the friend from the CCTV for your interest. Since the new era, under the strong leadership of the CPC Central Committee, with Comrade Xi Jinping at its core, Xizang has resolved many tough problems that were long on the agenda but never solved, and accomplished many things that were wanted but never got done. The human rights undertaking has seen comprehensive progress and historic achievements, fully proving the practical value of General Secretary Xi Jinping's important theories on respecting and protecting human rights. In advancing work in various fields, we have summarized the experience in the following 6 aspects. First, upholding the leadership of the CPC. The CPC has always been a political party that respects and safeguards human rights. Attaching great importance to the development of the human rights in Xizang, the party has taken practical and effective measures to coordinate and enhance the development of various rights, promoting people's well-rounded development and shared prosperity among all ethnic groups in Xizang. As a result, we have ushered in profound changes often described as advancing 1,000 years in just a few decades. Today, Xizang has fully proved compellingly that without the CPC, there would not be the new China and new Xizang. Only by upholding this leadership can the people of Xizang become and remain masters of their own affairs. Can their fundamental interests be safeguarded and advanced? Sing a folk song to the party, liberated Xizang serfs in the Emancipation, Heavenly Road, and many other well-known, widely admired songs vividly reflect the heartfelt gratitude and support for the party among people of all ethnic groups in Xizang. Second, respecting and ensuring the principal status of the people. For the people is the distinguishing feature of the Chinese path of human rights protection. By taking a people-centered approach to human rights, the CPC and the Chinese government have boosted local people's enthusiasm, initiative, and creativity, and have enabled them to become the dominant participants in, contributors to, and beneficiaries of human rights progress in the region. In the just concluded 2 sessions, The 25 NPC deputies from Xizang and the 29 deputies who are residents in Xizang have shared their wisdom and contributed their suggestions on the 2 sessions about many aspects relevant to the development of Xizang. Third, basing our work on Xizang's realities, there is no one-size-fits-all approach to the development of human rights. The one that is the best is the one that suits ourselves. Based on the real conditions in the region, the CPC and Chinese government have adopted a development model with Chinese characteristics that respects Xizang's regional features and fulfill 4 main tasks in the region: ensuring stability, facilitating development, protecting the eco-environment, strengthening the borders. This gives all people in Xizang a greater sense of gain, fulfillment, and security. Fourth, focusing on basic human rights, primarily the rights to subsistence and development. Subsistence is the foundation of all human rights, and living a life of contentment is the ultimate human right. We prioritize protecting the rights of the people of Xizang to subsistence and realizing their rights to development, and focus on addressing the most pressing and immediate issues that concern the local people the most, so as to achieve higher quality development. Fifth, protecting human rights through maintaining security. We consider that countering separatist activities and preserving national security are essential to the people's well-being. This approach has ensured sustained and steady social development for Xizang and stable and secure border areas. A safe and stable environment creates favorable conditions and serves as a solid foundation for the development of human rights in the region. Sixth, protect human rights in accordance with the law. The rule of law is the most effective guarantee for human rights. By upholding law-based governance, the autonomous region ensures that the authority of the Constitution and the law is maintained. Dedicated on the principle that everyone is equal before the law, we have strengthened human rights protections throughout the process of legislation, law enforcement, judicature, and the observance of the law as part of our efforts to provide legal protection for human rights and defend social fairness and justice in the region. Thank you. Now the floor continues to open. The 3rd row in the middle. Thank you. I'm from the China News Service. On this trip to Xizang, I saw lots of prosperity and beautiful scenery, but I also felt the effects of high altitude and low air pressure. For those who live in Xizang for long periods, these natural conditions can indeed affect their health. So what measures has Xizang taken to protect the health of its people? The question goes to Vice Chairman, Mr. Xu Zhitao. Thank you for your question. As this media friend has noted, Xizang has a high altitude and is prone to lead to some chronic diseases or high-altitude diseases that affect our health. The Central Party Committee has attached a great importance to it. In relevant documents, constructing a National High Plateau Medical Center and a National Plateau Disease Center are mentioned repetitively. At a very important meeting, President Xi Jinping also mentioned that we need to develop and promote new medical and healthcare devices and technologies suitable for high-altitude areas. We have done the following work to implement the central instructions. First, we strengthen planning in response to the issues like outdated clinical practices, the hazardous impact of high-altitude conditions, and unbalanced dietary structures. We have implemented and issued the 8 actions with concrete measures speeding up efforts to build a healthy Xizang. Second, we balance the distribution of medical resources. Xizang has only advantageous geographic conditions and has a low population density, and we have a 5-level medical network. For over 400 major diseases, it can be treated within the autonomous region. More than 2,400 types of moderate illnesses can be treated within the local prefecture or city, and most minor ailments can be addressed at the township and sub-district level. And we also leverage smart healthcare solutions and Internet plus healthcare to promote telemedicine in all public medical institutions at or above the township level. We also to provide better guarantee in our medical devices. Since 2015, 203 hospitals from 17 paired provinces and cities have dispatched over 2,000 experts to support medical institutions at all levels in Xizang, training local healthcare professionals and significantly raising the level of medical services across the region. Under the support of the government, we have developed medical technologies suitable for high-altitude environments, and we have established the National Center for Traditional Chinese Medicine, Manning Xizang Medicine, and a National Plateau Disease Medical Center. In 2015, in 2025, funding for each resident's health checkup will rise to 164 yuan, and full coverage of health checkups will be achieved. And we also issued the dietary guidelines for residents of high-altitude areas. Since the peaceful liberation, the population has grown from about 1 million to 3.7 million, while maternal mortality, infant mortality, and life expectancy have all reached their best levels in history. Thank you. We have many international friends here. So, in the middle, in the third row. Thank you.
你好, Mahdi Faraj from Rudao Media Network. I have a question. What measures have been taken to preserve Tibetan cultural identity and language while promoting economic development in this beautiful region?
好，请翻译一下。伊拉克儒道媒体集团，我的问题是，在促进该地区经济发展的同时，采取了哪些措施来保护西藏的文化特征和语言？
The question goes to Mr. Wang Haizhou. Thank you for your question and for your interest. The Xizang culture is an integral part of Chinese culture. We have adopted a series of measures to preserve and promote the development of the local culture, especially since the 18th CPC Congress. The excellent traditional culture in Xizang have been carried forward. First of all, is the intangible cultural heritage has been preserved. And the autonomous region has invested a lot of money in preserving the IHC. Now, we have Xizang, EPIC, and we also have projects like the Tibetan medicine, and we also have many representative works of the Xizang culture. And we have 2,800 IHC projects and 1,668 inheritors of IHC. You know, we only have about 3.6 million local residents. So we have strengthened our work in all areas. We have invested a large amount of money in the maintenance of the temples of like the Plateau Palace and the maintenance of the local tourist destination. In the next decade, we will invest 300 million yuan in the maintenance and preservation of classics of the Plateau Palace. Besides the IHC preservation, we have 70 key institutes for the protection of the IHC and 660 regional level institute for IHC protection. According to national arrangement, we are conducting the fourth round of sensors on the protection of IHC. Following that, we will continue to improve our work. The party and the country and the governments attach great importance to the preserve of the Tibetan language based on the law. As you can see, in public places, in signages and in advertisements, you can find both standard Chinese and Tibetan language. Also, in your hands, we have a Putonghua version. We also have a Tibetan language version, and today's press conference is released in Chinese, Tibetan language, and English. Now in Xizang, in radio broadcast, film and television visuals, internet sections, newspapers and journals, textbooks, and the publishing market, the Tibetan language is found in all these places. And the Tibetan language has become China's first minority ethnic group language that has the international standard. It is fair to say that the learning and use of Tibetan language have never been as widespread as they are today. Thank you. Let's continue. In the first row. From People's Daily, protecting the rights to be informed and participate is essential to whole process people's democracy. So what practical measures has Xizang taken? I will take this question. First of all, I would like to thank you for raising this question. So I will share with you our experience accumulated in the past years and also our work in the past years. A very brief introduction. China is a socialist country run by the people. People are the masters of the country. This is true in both other places of China and in Xizang. To maintain the principal status of the people, they need to be informed about and participate in all matters, big or small. So Xizang is vigorously developing whole process people's democracy, fully ensuring the rights of peoples of all ethnic groups to be informed and participate in. And in the decision-making, implementation, oversight of the party and the central government, and in all links, people's voices can be heard. I would like to share our work from three aspects. First, matters big or small are informed. The transparency of government information is essential to people's rights to be informed, participate, expression, and oversight. Documents of public concern are published via government websites, social media platforms, government gazettes, and other channels by governments at all levels. All legally required information for voluntary disclosure is accessible for the public. In 2019, the People's Government of the Xizang Autonomous Region issued the measures of the Xizang Autonomous Region on transparency in village affairs. Village committees are required to fully disclose village information via transparency bulletin boards and at village representative meetings, as well as via online platforms platforms, broadcasting services, text messages, WeChat, transparency cards, and other channels. Besides, we say matters big or small, welcome people's participation. The working methods for deputies to people's congresses to reach out to the public have also been improved. Deputies at various levels are encouraged to maintain close contact with voters and to listen to their voices on issues that matter to them. From the legislation to the formulation of plans, to garbage sorting and even real estate management, people can truly participate in these big or small matters. In the meantime, systems for villagers' representative meetings, urban community residents' congresses, and employees' congresses have been improved. And the mechanisms for grassroots elections, deliberations, information disclosure, work reporting, accountability, and other affairs have also been improved to make primary-level democracy more extensive and effective. Third, we say that matters, big or small, must be resolved. The CPPCC at all levels in Xizang have upheld the integration of party leadership, the united front, and consultative leadership to encourage more extensive participation in and administration of state affairs by people from all ethnic groups and all walks of life to resolve the pressing difficulties and problems that concern them most. There are 29 members of the CPPCC National Committee who are residents of Xizang, 93.1% of whom are from ethnic minority groups. There are 429 members on the 12th CPPCC National Committee of the Xizang Autonomous Region, of whom 59.91% of whom are not CPC members. CPPCC organizations between 2013 and 2013, the CPPCC Committee of the Xizang Autonomous Region received a total of 5,095 proposals, 4,920 were accepted and filed, and the rest were given a formal response or reply. Thank you.
Now we continue to take questions. Third row, please. Thank you. I'm from CNN. Well, just now, Chairman Ge mentioned that overseas, in some Xizang people gathered areas, there are some students in Xizang that are recruited or enrolled in boarding schools in other regions where they are taught in Chinese or Putonghua or Chinese languages. Well, we saw that several spokespersons or people are saying that this is a way to so-called localize the people in Xizang, and this might result in the loss of their own culture and language. Well, so my question is, do you have any numbers or statistics that you could share with us that how many of those school-age children that are enrolled in such boarding schools, and are they taught or do they have any opportunity to be taught in Tibetan language or the Chinese language? Of course, I welcome your response to such doubts and criticism as well. Thank you very much for this question, and I believe many of our journalists and reporters here are quite concerned with this issue. Now I would like to turn it over to Director General Wang to Xu Zhitao to answer this question. Well, thank you for asking this question, and I believe this is an issue that many journalists and reporters are concerned about or are interested in. And last year, I answered a similar question in a press conference. Well, I would like to start with the local conditions here in Xizang. Well, the Xizang's boarding schools are a type of school that is suitable for our local conditions. That we understand that Xizang region is a region with a vast territory, and many students living in the agricultural or the pastoral regions have difficulties in attending schools and resulting in a
suboptimal educational quality. Therefore, schools in this region are providing boarding education as an option to these students as stipulated in our laws and regulations. And secondly, as many of you are interested in, that the boarding school or the boarding education are chosen at the full discretion of the students themselves and their parents. And for students that are studying in such boarding schools, they can go back to their homes on weekends and also during the holidays. Therefore, their communication and ties with their families are smooth and not cut off. And you asked me to provide you with some numbers and statistics. Well, this is not a static one, but a dynamic one. It changes on a yearly basis, and also it's up to the discretion and the voluntary of the students and the parents. And because they're students, they could choose to take the boarding education that is living in the schools. At the same time, there are other students that in the same school, they could choose to go back home every day. And this is the same in other schools and where they're taught in Tibetan languages, and boarding school or boarding education is a commonly practiced educational system, not just in China but also other countries in the world. And this is an important measure to address the challenges where students might experience difficulties in getting enrolled in schools or in going to the schools. And with the efforts we made in past few decades, the boarding education and boarding schools have made sure that our students does not only have access to education but have access to good quality education. Students in schools now could join different student clubs, and like the chairman mentioned, that many of those cultural intangible heritages are introduced into schools. At the same time, we are embarking and we are carrying out different types of courses to improve their psychological, mental, physical, as well as intellectual literacy. And this is a way, and this is a proof of advancement in human rights. Thank you. Now, we continue to take questions. The first row. Hello, I am with the Guangming Daily. Well, on this trip to Lhasa, I saw many Tibetan Buddhist temples and religious believers making pilgrimages and offering incense and prayer flags. I also learned that there are Islamic mosques in Lhasa as well. Could you please introduce how the Chinese government has safeguarded in Xizang the rights of people of different ethnic groups to freedom of religious beliefs? Thank you. And I will ask Director General Wang to take this question. Thank you. I believe this is also an issue many of you are interested in. The Constitution of the People's Republic of China stipulated clearly that citizens of People's Republic of China shall enjoy freedom of religious belief, and the state shall protect normal religious activities. And Xizang has adhered to the requirement in the Constitution and has been implementing the national policy of respecting and protecting the freedom of religious belief. Well, just like the reporter mentioned, that here we have not just the Tibetan Buddhist temples, we have other religious venues such as Islamic mosques and Catholic churches. All such religious venues are protected by law. The traditions of learning scriptures and debating scriptures and their subsequent promotion in academic degrees are carried out here. The traditional learning and debating scripture system are seamlessly integrated with our modern education system of three-level title system. Currently in Xizang, 130 monks have earned the highest Torampa ranking in Tibetan Buddhism. And in the Xizang Tibetan Buddhism Institute and its 10 branches, over 3,000 monks are currently learning the scriptures. And on the basis of meeting the needs of religious believers, their religious beliefs are fully respected. And among the homes of our religious beliefs, you could find scripture rooms when you visit any of them, and religious and folk activities and festivals such as the Shorten Festival, Batalan Festival, Sagadawa Festival, walks around lakes and mountains are carried out on a yearly basis. And every year, like you see here in Lhasa, millions of religious believers will make pilgrimages to Lhasa. And we have been improving social security system for monks and nuns. Since the new era, Chinese government has invested in a unified renovation of temples and monasteries and in building and renovating the elder service facilities in temples and providing them with healthcare services and improving infrastructure. 98% of our temples and monasteries now have access to roads, telecommunication, electricity, water, TV. But of course, you might be wondering, what about the 2%? Well, there are still 2% temples that are in really remote areas, so we are still making efforts. At the same time, the government, on a yearly basis, providing different subsidies for monks and nuns, so they are fully covered with medical insurance, old age care, subsistence allowance, and accident insurance, as well as health checkups. So it is fair to say that their well-being and livelihood are greatly improved. And also, their demands and needs in learning and also in debating scriptures are guaranteed. Thank you. Now we continue to take questions. Second row. The male journalist. Thank you. I'm from the Japan GG Press. The Chinese government has introduced the policy of expanding inbound tourism. However, free travel is still not available in Xizang. What are the reasons? Will this restriction be relaxed in the future? Thank you. Well, I will ask Vice Chair Xu to take this question. Thank you. Thank you very much for this question. Xizang is an open Xizang, and we have always been welcoming the foreigners to visit Xizang, and also we have been welcoming reporters and journalists into Xizang. But at the same time, due to Xizang's special geographical and climatic conditions, the government has taken certain administrative measures for foreigners entering Xizang in accordance with our laws and regulations. And this is completely necessary. Well, in Xizang, especially this term of CPC committee and the people's government has attached great importance to our policy of opening wider, because we believe only an open region, an open society will welcome a more developed society. Well, I am in charge of the culture and tourism here in Xizang. So in recent years, we have been introducing measures that are welcoming the tourists from different regions and countries to visit here, and not just for tourism, for trips, for traveling, but also to start their businesses. In 2024, the region has received that on a yearly basis 320,000 visits and that are traveling from outside of China. And I believe we will pick up the pace in tourism development. And in accordance with our local conditions, in terms of hospitality and local infrastructure, we will provide more and to facilitate their traveling here in Xizang. Thank you. We'll continue to take questions. Second row. Thank you very much. I'm from Phoenix TV. And concerning the environmental protection, apart from lucid waters and lush mountains are invaluable assets in Xizang, there's also saying that ice and snow are also invaluable assets. So my question is, what achievements has Xizang realized in the protection of environmental rights? Well, I will take this question. This is also an important question. Previously, we mentioned that eco-environmental protection is one of the 4 major tasks of Xizang in the new era, and Xizang has been prioritizing eco-environmental conservation and keeping in mind the instruction of General Secretary Xi Jinping that protecting the Qinghai Xizang Plateau ecological environment is the biggest contribution that we could do to the survival and development of Chinese nation, and we have been adopting the strictest measures and improving our level of ecological governance. And now, this beautiful ecological environment has become a driver for the well-being of our people. At the same time, an impressive calling card of Xizang Autonomous Region. In the next few days, I believe you will see with your own eyes that the beautiful eco-environment here, as well as the beautiful views and sceneries here. And I will give you an overview of our eco-environment in the following 4 aspects. The first is the air in Xizang is now cleaner. We are making progress in building a brighter Xizang. Since 2016, the proportion of days with excellent or good air quality in Xizang has reached over 99%, and the air quality in main towns and cities have, on the whole, remained excellent or good. And the air quality in Mount Kumulama area has been rated as good or excellent, reaching the state grade 1 standards. And second is that our glaciers are stronger than ever, building a more enchanting crystal Xizang. The Xizang Autonomous Region issued the regulations on glacier protection here in Xizang Autonomous Region, providing institutional guarantee for glacier protection, ensuring ecological security, promoting economic sustainable development, and the harmonious coexistence between people and nature. At the same time, Xizang has carried out a coordinated protection of glacier and its surrounding ecosystem, and so to realize the integrity of the Qinghai Xizang Plateau ecological protection. Our third aspect is that now we have better water quality with the lucid sea. Xizang is inspired by many people. Beautiful lakes and rivers are unique views of the Qinghai Tibet Plateau. And through our systemic protection and the conservation of the major rivers, lakes and their sources, with 33 major rivers as a core, the health rate evaluation of our rivers and lakes have reached 100%, and the ecological flow in 99.96% in key rivers has met the criteria. Now, many travelers and tourists are coming to Xizang for these beautiful lakes. And fourthly, Xizang now is a more habitable and livable place. All 7 prefectures and cities in Xizang Autonomous Region has recognized as national eco-civilization demonstration zones, becoming the only province whose cities being recognized as such national level zones. The Lhasa central town area that we are currently at. Through our ecological governance of the water system phase 1 and the phase 2 that are currently underway, our water view and landscape, as well as their quality, are improved, and our living environment and habitat are continuously being improved. And Lhasa has become an altitude city with a livable environment. Green development is the underlying tone of a high-quality development, and new quality productive forces are inherently green productive forces. The Xizang has been transforming lush mountains and lucid waters and ice and snow into invaluable assets, and so our people here in Xizang could benefit from it. But we always say that to see is to believe. So I cordially invite you to utilize your visit this time to Xizang to feel and to experience the ecological situation here in Xizang.
Let's continue to take the questions. The second row. Thank you. With Rosia, Sidonia International Information Agency. I would like to know about Russian tourists in Russia. What travel routes are favored by Russian tourists in the future? Will new routes emerge that are more appealing to Russian market? This question will be taken by Vice Chairman Xu. Thank you for your question. I've been to Russia, leading a delegation on the cultural circle of Xizang, and we really feel that the friendship between Russian people from Xizang and the interests of Russian people in traveling in Xizang. As far as we know, Russian tourists, as well as tourists from European and American countries, favor the Lhasa, Shikaze, and Chomolungma route. And apart from them, will continue their travel to Ngari. This route represents the most excellent parts of natural and cultural charm of Xizang. As I have mentioned, Xizang will be opened even broader to the whole world. From the perspective of the government, we are studying and exploring how to develop more traveling routes that are suitable for overseas tourists. And also, we are developing the direct airlines towards Xizang. And we are also developing more featured and high-end trains for tourists going to Xizang. I hope that in the future there will be more and more foreign tourists choose Xizang as their destination. Let's continue to take questions. Hello, I'm from Economic Daily. In recent years, the country has taken various initiatives to improve housing conditions, enabling people to move from merely having shelter to truly enjoying comfortable living environments. Xizang, located on the plateau with a low population density, have adopted a relocation strategy to enhance living standards. Could you please introduce the specific and outcomes of this relocation work? This question will be taken by Vice Chairman Xu. As you mentioned, some places in Xizang has a low population density, So it is difficult for them in travel, acquiring employment opportunities, schooling, and healthcare. Xizang's party committees and governments attach great importance to people's right to housing, taking into account their rights to health, education, and a sound environment. Since 2015, adhering to the principles of voluntary participation with both centralized and dispersed resettlement, Xizang has built 965 relocation sites in lower altitude regions. Following the launch of the National Poverty Alleviation Policy, governments at all levels in Xizang have devoted considerable efforts to addressing employment, healthcare, education, housing needs for relocated residents, and providing ecological subsidies on an annual basis, as well as offering job opportunities and skillings training. By the end of 2019, all of Xizang's 628,000 impoverished residents have been lifted out of poverty. Among them, 266,000 were lifted out of poverty with relocation policies. This resettlement policy have improved their living environment and standard. For example, in Shuanghu County, this is a place with an average elevation exceeding 5,000 meters. It is China's highest county. Since 2019, about 14,000 herdsmen began moving to Samburi, located at an altitude of 3,600 meters and roughly 60 kilometers from Lhasa. And we respect the willingness of the people. Now, the resettlement has started for 6 years. Some herdsmen choose to stay in Samburi, while others choose to return to their pastures in summer and stay in the resettlement community during winter. To facilitate this, the local government organized farming and pastoral cooperatives composed of both herdsmen and professional staff, including healthcare professionals. These cooperatives operate in shifts to care for the livestock left behind. Generally speaking, those who have relocated express strong support for the parties and government's arrangements and are optimistic about embracing a better life. Let's continue to take questions. The third row, this section. Thank you. I'm with China Daily. In 1995, at the 4th World Women Conference held in Beijing, the Beijing Declaration and Platform for Action were adopted. This year marks the 30th anniversary of the 1995 conference. Not long ago, the 69th session of the UN Commission on the Status of Women was held too. What measures has the Xizang Autonomous Region adopted to promote the protection of women's rights? This question will be taken by Director General Wang. Thank you for your interest in women's rights. Women's rights are fundamental human rights, and building a better life cannot be achieved without the comprehensive development of women's causes. The government of the region has formulated the plan for women's development in Xizang Autonomous Region 2021 to 2025, steadily strengthening the protection of women's rights. In terms of participation in deliberation on state affairs, women represent 36.6% 6% of the region's delegates to the 20th CPC National Congress, 28% of its deputies to the 14th NPC, and 22.6% of its members of the 14th CPPCC National Committee. Among the delegates to the 10th Party Congress of the region, 32.4% are female. 30.6% of the deputies to the 12th People's Congress of the region are female, as are 28.1% of the members of the 12th CPPCC Xizang Autonomous Region Committee. Additionally, all administrative villages or urban communities in Xizang have female members in their party branches and the villages of residence committees. In the protection of women's rights to health, a preferential policy for the cost of hospitalization for childbirth has been implemented, granting pregnant women from farming and pastoral areas full reimbursement of medical expenses, as well as a one-time hospital delivery subsidy of RMB 1,000 yuan and a prenatal living allowance of RMB 300. Over the past 5 years, Xizang has provided more than RMB 200 million in hospital delivery subsidies to over 267,000 pregnant women from farming and pastoral areas. The hospital delivery rate in the region has risen from 75.8% in 2012 to 99.15% in 2023. In ensuring women's rights to education, before the democratic reform, the gender gap in compulsory education has largely been eliminated, especially since the establishment of Xizang Autonomous Region. The gap in compulsory education has been largely eliminated, and the proportion of female students in regular higher education, graduate education, and adult higher education are all above 50%. And we are proud to say that women's rights to education have been fully guaranteed. If you can notice that in many areas, almost all the jobs in Xizang Autonomous Region, you can see women workers and staff members. More and more women has become an important force contributing to the development of socialism in Xizang, and they hold half the sky in the beautiful Xizang. Let's continue to take questions. This is the last question. Thank you. I'm with Xinhua News Agency. According to my knowledge, employment is paramount to people's well-being. As I know, in 2024, the number of farmers and herdsmen in Xizang who shifted from non-agricultural employment reached 648,000, with a total labor income of 7.155 billion yuan. Could you please share what effective measures Xizang has taken to facilitate this transition for farmers and herdsmen? Thank you for your question. People's well-being is the greatest human right, and this shall be guaranteed by high-quality employment. Especially in Xizang, farmers and herds account for more than 60% of the population. The Party Central Committee has attached great importance to their employment. The CPC Committee and the government of Xizang Autonomous Region has always prioritized the employment of herdsmen and farmers in increasing their income. On the basis of fully respecting farmers and herdsmen's own willingness and in response to the needs for training and employment, the government and market entities work together to provide high-quality services for labor transfer. First, we adopt a unified employment and entrepreneurship registration system for urban and rural areas. All farmers and herdsmen are fully included in the urban employment registration, and free public employment services such as job placement, career guidance, and job-seeking registration are provided to them. And second, promote vocational skills training. Currently, any urban and rural worker in the autonomous region above the age of 16 who have the willingness to work or undergo training can receive skills training. When formulating training and employment plans, the government fully respects individual preferences. Trainees choose their own training programs, methods, and training institutions. Third, expand multiple pathways to absorb labor. Through the development of industries with local advantages and distinct characteristics, creating dedicated transfer employment bases for farmers and herdsmen, and leveraging government investment projects, Xizang offers diverse channels and methods to boost and accommodate farmers and herdsmen's transition to non-agricultural employment. Fourth, rely on local employment service stations. In each prefecture and city, employment services station coordinate with local labor and employment service agencies based on the preferences and skill levels of the surplus labor in farming and herds. These stations help arrange orderly and organized job placements. They proactively address farmers and herdsmen needs. So thank you. After today's press conference, you will have field visit. And for more questions, you can continue to understand during the field visit. This is the end of today's press conference. Thank you.
Well, that was